All right. Welcome to the Tesla Community Channel. Nice to
Hello,
have.
guys.
Hi.
Yeah,
So,
welcome back, everybody. This is the real episode 8, by the way. Last time I said it was episode 8, it wasn't. It was episode 7. So this is episode 8. We've got Jennifer back with us again. And
Uh-oh. And Claude froze again.
yeah, there might be some connection issues with Claude's stream via Starlink.
we may have a bit of, technical challenges along the way.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. Right now, you're chopped off again. Maybe once the satellites realign a bit more in favor of the stream, we'll see.
We're just going to roll with it. If the kids come in here or if we have technical issues, we're just going to roll with it and see how we go.
Yeah, life happens. You got to wonder, like, is there something going on? Are they moving the satellites?
You never know. You never
You
know.
just don't know. You know?
Yeah, it's true.
Because didn't he just make a new, what's the new thing that Star Shield? There's something going on with Starlink that now there's Star Shield.
I don't know. I haven't even caught up to that yet. But yeah,
We're going to talk about it another day because we have a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot. This is gonna be a few conversations. It takes a while, I reckon. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, so today we want to talk about catalysts for 2023 and what's going to really accelerate Tesla's mission overall in the grand picture, but also possibly, if we still got the time, talking about Twitter and everything that is going on in there and how it might impact especially Tesla stock, but we'll see how that turns out. Yes, so maybe we can just start right away with something that recently happened, and that's the wide release of full self-driving. And everybody in North America can now access it who purchased it. And I think that's really interesting because you are going from, I think, 100,000 beta testers to I don't know how many will actually only see once they release the reports, right? The shareholder reports for next quarter, or for this quarter, because there it states how many they are releasing this to. So right now we don't have any information on that, but so far I haven't read any news on on lots of accidents on roads in the US. I don't know how it is for you, Jennifer, as you are based in the US.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen any accidents, and I have to say that there's a lot of people that want to see Tesla fail. So if there were accidents, you would hear about it everywhere, because every news organization, all the misinformation media does not like Twitter, so they don't like Elon. So if they can take them down, they will. So honestly, if there was any accident, you would hear about it. Now, I'll tell you what I have seen. I have seen a few of my friends on Twitter order full self-drive since it's been released. So I think it is very positive.
Awesome. And it's such a bold step for Tesla to take at this point in time. It was it almost seemed a bit touch and go, as if there were you had various conversations saying, oh yeah, FSD is not going to be like rolled out for years, and all of a sudden, bam, under the radar, opened up to all of North America. It's a really, really significant step to take.
I feel like they realized that how much they gained from having the miles driven with the beta testers, and then realized, well, how much more can we gain with more miles? And it's safe enough now, and we can convey to people that they have to, be aware and everything now, that we can release it and just capture so many more miles this way. So I think it's really getting the data. It's all about the data set, and Tesla is really positioned perfectly, for that. And I think that's why you're seeing all the capitulation in the other companies. VW got rid of their program, and then Apple, it seems, is getting rid of the Apple Car program. So I think other companies are going, you know what? We cannot compete. We're not even going to try.
It was even nice to see Elon spending a bit of time with the guys over there at Apple, taking a bit of time out of his busy schedule to go and make friends and talk about who knows what. But yeah, it's and you hear, I mean, we've been following various conversations about with people who have been trying out FSD, and and some of those sort of allude to things like, oh, I'm not really sure whether the vehicle might actually do something unsafe. But this being actually rolling it out to make it available to everybody in North America this way, um, obviously speaks to the confidence that they're pretty confident that the vehicle, even for those people who do qualify for it and try it out, are basically not going to have an issue. They're going to have a learning experience for sure, as we've seen with many people that have been making videos about it now. But it's like I was loving Farzad's videos about when he's been taking his FSD out, and he had a few moments where he wasn't sure about it, and he was cautious about it, but um, I reckon even in cases where people sort of let the vehicle try to make a decision, uh, it's just such a confident move that you know just where's the bad news about it? Where are the disasters? It's you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
he's actually doing this wife test, right?
Yeah,
Fazit, he takes his wife to the FSD ride, and once she feels comfortable, it passed the test, and that's like a high threshold for him. And I think that's valid because she wants to be comfortable in a car while she's on the passenger seat, and like everybody does. So I
yeah.
think that's wise, and I'll try this too. As my wife really hates autopilot in general, because when we had it 2 years ago, there were 2 or 3 phantom braking events. None of these occurred after that, but they were really scary, right? Because you
I
were
see.
braking hard on the autobahn, and you're like, why? There was no real danger, but it really felt uncomfortable, right?
Hmm.
But I think that's a wise way to test FSD, and I think once this is being passed by your spouse or any friend having no experience with this, prior experience, I think that's a very valid way of saying, okay, now it's available to the public, because it will not make insane movements. Maybe
Yeah,
some quirks here and there, right?
yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. And the Autobahn, that it's scarier thinking about hard braking on the Autobahn than on a US interstate, because on the US interstates, people drive like morons. They do. They're all like texting and driving. They're not even looking. They're not like staying in their lane. It's a very, very different experience driving on the Autobahn. For anybody
Mm.
who hasn't done both, it's night and day. So
Hmm.
it would freak me
Hmm.
out if I saw somebody slam on the brakes on the Autobahn, because I'd be
Yeah,
like, what did they see that I didn't see? Because everybody really is paying attention in Germany. God
yeah.
bless you guys. You're the best drivers on earth. I swear to God. It's
Especially for the
very correct.
speeds they can travel on the autobahn.
Well, that's why they can have those speeds, and that's
Yeah,
why we can't have nice things in America, because there's like 2 people that screw it up for everybody else. So, um, way to go, Germans. But
yeah.
but it's funny because everybody's going to react to FSD like a little differently, and even in the U.S., FSD is reacting a little differently, because in some areas where they don't have a lot of miles driven, like it's a little more rural and stuff, they're having more problems with it. And I think the more that it is driven in a certain area, the more that FSD learns how to deal with those particular things that are in that region. So, of course, when you see like Omar from Hallmark's catalog, when you see him do FSD, he's in San Francisco.
Hmm.
It's like been there forever, and
Yeah.
he is an original beta tester. So his performs fantastically because it's been dealing with those same roads for a long
Hmm.
time. And then you see somebody who is in like the Midwest somewhere, and
Yeah.
they have roads that maybe aren't marked as well, and it's not performing as well. But I think we're going to see improvement very quickly in those situations.
Mm. I totally agree, especially with this explosion of extra miles that'll now come into the system.
Mm-hmm.
Probably come into Dojo and get worked into the whole training process.
Yeah,
So
the
yeah,
supercomputer is supposed to come online like right now as we are speaking. I think at least the first iteration, they are starting tests on it. At least that's what they showed on AI Day 2, I think.
right.
Um, so actually, yeah, they should be able to reap the benefits of all the new data coming in, all the new edge cases where you can train the AI to
Yeah.
really navigate, really
Yeah.
strange scenarios.
Yeah.
Especially since the world is so varied and there are so many different places just in the US alone, where you need to train the AI for it. I mean, the standard
Yeah.
stuff probably is no problem at all anymore. At least
Yeah.
that's what I'm seeing on the YouTube videos. But yeah, we'll see. I'm also really excited for once it releases in Europe, depending on the regulatory hurdles,
Hurdles.
uh,
Yeah.
because there the whole system is really different. But of course they already trained their AI according to some basic European ways of having streets and the signs, the traffic signs, and so on. And that recently there was a bug in the news release that they showed European signs in the US,
Oh,
right? So
wow.
it means that they are kind of still working on it, or
Right.
there's something going on, but we don't know what yet. But we'll see.
Mm.
Hmm.
And also, I'm also keen to see it roll out in the UK at some point. Now, one interesting fact that's still going on here in the UK is there's still a very slow rollout of electric scooters. It's still the case that self-owned electric scooters are illegal on roads. Uh, Although they have various programs, even here in London, where you can hire an electric scooter, and so designated areas with designated electric scooters that you can hire, those are the ones you can ride on certain roads. But it's very
Yeah.
odd, yeah. And that just being an example, I'm hoping that that's not a sort of a foretelling factor about how long are they going to drag out rolling out something like FSD here in the UK. But we'll have to wait and see.
Well, or even is that like a harbinger, at least for the UK, of like what's coming with their climate bills? I was reading something and it was a little concerning about you guys are making, well, I shouldn't say you guys, someone over there. I'm not blaming Claude, he's cool, but someone who's not Claude is making some rules about they don't want you guys to own your own vehicles, and you can't drive places, you have to walk places. It was in like Oxford, Edinburgh, maybe. I got to find that article. I just read an article about it, and it was something about this climate bill and
Hmm.
mandating that you cannot use energy to go, like if it's close to your house or something, you can't drive there.
I do know that they have sort of been expanding certain areas where there's a higher and higher tariff to drive
Hmm.
vehicles. It used to be sort of closer to the inner city that you would have to, like, there would be a daily charge if you were going to enter certain zones. But yeah,
Yeah,
this will be
which they
interesting
have
to
in
follow.
Shanghai, don't they? Don't they have something like that in Shanghai? If you have like a gas vehicle, then you have to pay more. And then if you drive, you can only drive on certain days.
I suppose, I don't know. Yeah, we got to find this out. Yeah,
Mhm.
and follow it.
Yeah, so, well, what I know about Shanghai, or at least, in the larger cities in China, is that you have to pay these exorbitant amounts for your tags. So for your license plates, and if it's a gas car, and there's a big long wait list, and if it's an EV, then that charge is waived. And I want to say it's like $15,000. It is not like a little charge. And then they have like an even and odd system where like if your license plate ends in an even number, you're allowed to drive on these days. If your license plate ends in an odd number, you're allowed to drive on those. So major restrictions. And now it looks like possibly England is doing something similar. And I understand like your population density is a little more, because what is the population of England? Do we know this off the top of our heads? Is it like 60 million?
Something like that. Something like that. Yeah, around about 60
Okay, and
million, I
it's and
think.
it's a little bitty island. It's not that big, compared
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
United States. We have like 330 million people. It's easier Germany to US just because I'm thinking about it. So Germany is roughly the size of Montana or
Mhm.
Pennsylvania, landmass wise. There's about 81 million Germans. And, we've like 33 million Americans. So that's like what, like a quarter of the American population if you just shove them all into Pennsylvania? Like that's Germany, okay? And then England, I feel like, is more densely populated. And a lot of England is, moors and stuff like that. So where the people live is even more condensed. So it's really interesting to see the laws coming out about driving and then zoning and then energy. Really interesting out of Europe.
Yeah, and I think also since Brexit as well, there's been quite a bit of turmoil around various reshaping of policies, and there's still a little bit of guessing on the ground. Sort of almost some of it's a bit of a wait and see what they're going to kind of announce next, and it's it'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be good to know. I just hope that we're, by some miracle, we get FSD over here in the UK at some point, as well. It'll be,
We'll see.
yeah.
So here we got a comment. Thank you for that.
Mm.
So it says Dojo clearly is making a difference in rate of change on beta for me, going back 3 or 4 months of beta iterations. So obviously that's someone from the US, and it's
awesome.
nice to see that it actually seems to turn out, and there is some progress, and I think that's very noticeable in many videos, as you can see, especially. Once you come to the conclusion of a video, as most testers do at the end, sometimes I don't watch the whole thing because it takes like 30 minutes to watch it. But they are saying there are some improvements here and there, but often it's like as Elon said, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or the other way around sometimes. And but overall, there is a progress, and it really looks like it's getting better. I think it's great to see it's confirmed.
Yeah, and Dojo coming online. I'd love to say it's a catalyst as well in a sense, but it's kind of an under the radar catalyst, not a mainstream catalyst.
Yeah,
but having a machine like that online is pretty significant as well. You can only imagine the amount, like you say, now they've released it, the amount of data that must be coming in. They can handle that data. And guys on the ground are seeing results. It's super encouraging.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how people are reacting to GPT-3 from OpenAI, and that is basically a toy that is nowhere near, doesn't even, is not a drop in the bucket compared to the compute power of Dojo. And people are so impressed with it. I think they're being so quiet about it because, I don't even know if you can really explain to the lay person entirely how good it is, and if they really knew, how many people would be against it because they would be afraid of it.
Possibly, yeah,
maybe.
But
Okay, let's talk the next catalyst, right?
Yeah.
Dojo is definitely a catalyst. If you're a shareholder.
That's true.
Exactly.
If you're part of the Tesla team, if you believe in Tesla, if you think Elon's a good guy, which I definitely believe, but if you don't, Dojo can be very scary. And I think that in this environment right now, I think they're like, let's just not freak anybody out. And plus, I think they need to hold some stuff. So when they really need to deploy some good news, they're like, oh, wait, we got this.
Yeah. Well, it's I know it's not on our list, but the actually, sorry, we're going to talk about the semi just now as well, and that's a kind of a similar story. Another sort of just by the way, But anyway, moving along our list of catalysts that we wanted to go through.
I just wanted to shove in this one comment, right? It says the masses only center on what FSD can't do and dismiss what it can do and will do, right? Obviously, there's the negativity bias, as it's called in psychology, and once you cannot deny the good, the amount of good it does. One day, hopefully, and people are realizing, okay, of course, there are some problems with it. I mean, selling a hammer can also do a lot of harm, but most hammers that are being sold are doing good, right? Or repairing stuff and building stuff. And I think that will be true one day for FSD. for
You know
sure.
what I've noticed about the comments with FSD is that the people that own FSD like it, and I haven't heard any of them regret their purchase. The
Mm,
negative comments that I hear are the people who do not own FSD and do not use FSD. They might have autopilot, maybe, and then they
Yeah.
call it FSD, but they are not FSD beta testers.
yeah, point. I mean, ignorance is bliss, in
Yeah.
a manner of speaking. Yeah.
That's true. Okay, Claude, you wanted to go on with a
Yeah, yeah,
right?
right. Yeah. Let's talk about energy. Let's talk
Oh yeah.
about the new Megapack factory. Yeah, in Lathrop, California. It's yeah, it's another thing that keeps going under the radar as well. You never hear the mainstream media, or you hardly ever hear the mainstream media talking about Tesla energy. And I know we've been brushing on it, and many people in many discussions tend to brush over it. Um, but it's another one of those things where I think Elon every now and again he just drops a comment to say, yeah, I think the energy business could end up being bigger than the car business. And
Yeah, it's really the next S curve. When you
hmm,
look at a lot of Tesla modelings, you see exactly. So you see EVs, FSD energy. Um, yeah, and okay. So if you look at like the entire continent of Africa, right? They are modernizing now, and a couple of the countries are really coming online. Like I think we're missing a huge opportunity as Americans, not having a bigger presence in Africa. China is really having a big presence. We need to be there as well. I would love to see the next Tesla Gigafactory be a
hmm,
Tesla Energy Gigafactory in like Nigeria.
yeah, yeah, wow, would that be something?
It really
And
would, because Nigeria is really coming along. I mean, and they need power plants, and there's
yeah,
not a better deal out there in the entire world than the combination of Tesla solar and the Megapack, battery storage system.
exactly. And at least ways there have been various conversations now with a few countries in Africa about things like Starlink.
Mhm.
And
Oh, well, yeah, that too. Yeah.
yeah, and if they're talking about Starlink, they're probably going to be talking about a few other potential options for energy, and yeah, at some point,
And
EVs.
what about India? India, so Elon won't put a factory in India because they won't drop their EV tariffs. So that India
Mhm.
has like 100% electric vehicle tariff. So if you import electric vehicles, it's 100% tax. That's like crazy because your average Indian does not make enough money to even fathom ever buying a Tesla. And so we just don't know what the market would be in India, but there's a huge population. What we have to remember, though, is that the subcontinent of India, the entire continent of Africa, they're going to be going through an industrial revolution. I think it's going to go
Mm,
a lot faster than the Northern Hemisphere's industrial revolution. We could be a part of that, a big part of
yeah,
that,
yeah,
if
Yeah.
we do it right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think at one point they were also talking about the average cost of Teslas being something that wouldn't really appeal to people in India, just being too expensive.
We
Then
can't
we
talk,
also,
or we can't talk about that yet, can we? We're talking about that later, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, later. Okay, but Claude, maybe just to put it into perspective for someone who doesn't know, Jennifer, as you mentioned, Nigeria, it has, I looked it up, 211 million people, right?
hmm,
So it's a huge country, many people, lots of
There's
young.
330 million Americans. There's 211 million Nigerians. Come on, guys. That's two-thirds the population of the US. It's not a little country.
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
maybe Claude, you can shed some light on the maybe from your personal experience as someone who was born and raised in South Africa about the need for energy supply or at least constant
Oh,
supply.
absolutely. Absolutely. Even today, I'm still reading comments from various people I know back in South Africa, who are absolutely fed up with the load shedding that is going on even now. Just this is like people are utterly perplexed at why ESCOM and major electrical providers just can't seem to get their act together, even after all this time. So yes, it's a very, very valid point, Julian. And I should imagine that doesn't pertain only to South Africa. It's kind of Africa is kind of, I'm sure, is asking for an upgrade, a technological upgrade in a manner
It's
of
like the
speaking.
world's opportunity zone. Like, when you have opportunity zones in a city and like if you invest there, you get all these credits and stuff. That's like the world's opportunity zone. China's seeing it and we need to see it. The problem, what the problem is, especially with the US, we're very egotistical and the Africans don't look like us, so we don't care. It's really messed up. I mean, I recognize it. I care. I care about Africa. I think we should be in Africa. But and I think that's the Chinese advantage, is that the Chinese they don't look at it from the same perspective. They see one color and it's green right now, and it's a good perspective to have sometimes.
I agree.
The green of money. Sorry, I'm thinking of America's money, and then I was like, oh wait, y'all have you have monopoly money. I forgot. You're not going to get this reference.
Yeah,
Dollars are
monopoly.
green. No, they're only green.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show me the green, as they say in the States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, and wait, you guys have what? Octopus or so? What is the power thingy?
Octopus
is it called
Energy.
Octopus? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's one of the providers. Yeah, I'm actually on Octopus Energy over here as well, and I think the benefits will come in where they are keen on solar and battery and clean energy production and the arbitrage and all of the the benefits that come with sort of rolling that out, as opposed to just sort of relying on traditional energy. And it's no, it's very encouraging. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen next, as with Octopus Energy. Speaking of, but yeah, energy's a big deal.
Didn't they make a deal with Octopus though? I feel like Tesla is doing something with them, because I think you guys are getting the batteries. You're getting like the power walls and the solar and everything. So they've kind of like slowed it in America. It's hard to get that. So there's like a wait.
I see.
But I think you guys are getting it.
I'm getting the sense that there is a bit of a wait involved as well. I did try calling around a few months ago, just to ask a few companies who do the various installations, and the impression I was getting was that it's not quite widely known here in the UK, even now. And I suspect that where it is rolling out is still very much under the radar. So, I think anybody who kind of does know about it, first of all, they think Elon is crazy, and then they think that it's all very expensive and all very and all very ridiculous in a way, at least from various conversations over the past over the past year or so. But it's a good point, Jennifer. I'd be keen to find out more and to see how those are, how things are rolling out. Yeah.
Well, what is your energy cost like typically? Because I think our energy costs are very different. I know that mine and Julian's energy costs are very different.
Yeah, I think we're on about. I mean, look, I've got a large household, so it's not your average household. But I think our costs for energy can go into about 100 or about 100 or 150 odd pounds a month sometimes. Sort of during the colder months, and
is that total? Are you all electric at your house? You're no gas or coal or anything?
We've got both. We've got gas and electricity. So, it's a good question. I mean, I haven't paid the closest attention to to the numbers. I've just been, coping with the job front and a very busy family.
Makes sense.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to make these comparisons, especially as we move forwards. I do read about offshore wind and installations of megapacks, and that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Especially here on the little island of the UK.
Yeah, I mean, here we got a comment again. 12 cents per kilowatt hour. So
Right,
in Germany,
Mm.
right now
right.
we're at, at least if you still have like the legacy prices, you're like 40 cents, and next month, starting 2023, it will be 80 cents for some. But there are some laws being put into place that you have to pay like 40 cents up to a certain limit, and then if you're using above that, you need to pay the 80 cents per kilowatt.
I see.
At least electricity is becoming very expensive. And referring back to the Megapack idea, and here it says Megapack is 1 year wait time,
Makes
especially
sense.
here in Germany. Uh, you know, we are pretty much in trouble because of the whole Russia relationship and our energy dependency on them, right? And
Right.
there was a news article I read a few weeks ago where there was a lot of wind energy being produced in one of the wind parks, but they couldn't store the energy, right? So it couldn't really even be put to place, or at least not passed on into savings for the consumers. So you ended up with a situation where you have lots of energy, renewable energy, and you cannot store it. So
Hmm.
obviously
Hmm.
you need something to store it in, and that's where Megapack might become in handy, even for like an advanced, um, you know, a country like Germany, which is as you can see now with the energy prices going crazy and all the political problems follow we have. Um, yeah, you just need something like that, I think, over the long term, anyways.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you replace peaker plants.
Yeah.
So a peaker plant is a plant that comes online during peak hours of need to fill the gap.
Mhm.
And
Yes, we got
so
coal.
Yeah.
Right. Usually
Dirty
in the
coal.
US, it's like coal or something like that. It's like all the dirty stuff, you know. So it's the
Yes.
best ones to replace. But like you're right, you need to store it because a lot of times the peak hours are not during sunlight,
Mhm.
or you don't know if the wind will be blowing then. And so
Yeah.
it does need to be stored. And then another thing that I heard, so earlier, the three of us, you guys don't know this because we're live now, but we had a little chat earlier. And I was telling them that I was watching Emmett Peppers and Matt Smith, and they made
Mm.
another point that I really liked. And they were questioning the new charging for the semi and it being like 1 megawatt and not being
Yeah.
able to let down 1 megawatt or not being able to demand 1 megawatt from
Mm.
power companies because they'll charge you more for pulling that much power. But if you pull less power into a megapack and the megapack stores it, you can demand the 1 kilowatt hour the 1 megawatt. You
Megawatt.
can get
Yeah.
that from the pack, and then you won't have that peak rate of charging too fast or whatever. So I just
Right.
thought about that when I was listening to them. Like they're so good and they had great, like they have all this great groundwork. And I was like, oh, you guys are so close, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got to that without watching them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you, Emmett and Matt.
Yeah, like and a shout out to Zach and Jesse as well. From Now You Know, they were talking about the 1 megawatt for Cybertruck as well, and it's insane to see how
Which sounds great until
yeah.
like Matt was saying, because I was unaware of this. But yes, thank you for putting that link in. But I was unaware of this, that there would be issues about pulling that much power at once from like the grid, like that there would be extra charges, that some companies would not allow it, like this, that, and the other. But if you have a storage battery, it's fixed.
And that's the key word, isn't it? Around energy storage. Storage is really the key word around
Mhm.
how to solve the issues. And yeah, and of course that comes back to batteries. And so yeah, but yeah, it's
Well, and to put the cost, like energy costs, in perspective for Americans, because I don't know, I don't really think in kilowatt hours. I don't know, I don't have that. like reference, but I can tell you that I lived in Germany, I lived in the US. And we have a 4,500 square foot house that is a throwback to the late 80s, right? So it's not crazy energy efficient. It is original windows. And we're working on it. You know, it's our fixer, but it's huge. And I want to say our energy cost total, well, and we all know that I have a tiny forest in the basement. If you follow me on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. And so those lights, I mean, I have 8,000 watts of full spectrum grow lights in the basement that
Awesome.
they pull, like, they're like $50 a month on themselves for energy. So I know they're my babies. But anyways, but
Worth
our
it.
house, you know, I don't know, it's we $200 to $300 a month maybe in energy costs. It's really not that much. It's kind of negligible in the grand scheme of things for my energy costs, because we're, you know, in Virginia, it's a little different. In California, energy is a lot more expensive. In Germany, our energy costs when we lived there before this crisis that you're having now were 3 times what we would pay in the States.
Wow.
Before shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
Now it's even worse. And so I remember one of our friends had a house that they had rented separately on the economy. And they were responsible for paying all their own bills, and they rented like a pretty sizable house. And then they got their energy bill, I think the first cold month, and it was like $3,000 or something.
Oh.
It was insane. They had like oil heat.
Yeah.
And it was outrageous. And they were like, what? It's unheard of. Nobody in the States would ever have a bill like that. And they learned like why the Germans have like doors in between rooms and will close off areas of the house.
Oh, sure.
They're very efficient. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing the differences in cultures. But yeah, so, you know, when we're in the States, we're, again, very egotistical. We only think from our little American perspective, and we think that everybody's paying about the same price. No, it's really different worldwide. So when you think about the advantages of the Tesla systems, you know, here, oh, it's a great system. Yeah, you'll recoup your costs, you know, over time. In Germany, if you can pay the same amount or anywhere close to it that we're paying for these systems, and you put one on your house, you're going to save a ton of money. So, or even your life, because what's going to happen this winter, I mean, I'm very concerned. I'm really worried for Europe, and especially for Germany with the Ukraine issue.
Yeah, exactly. And other places that have the same sort of similar dependency. So yeah, it's
We got one more comment. It says in the UK, the only climate-related changes or charging for individuals is for driving certain vehicles in major cities.
Oh, yes. Thank you. You know what we're talking about. Oh, good. Okay.
John loves Spain. And knows about
yeah, thanks, John.
You should add that to your name.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, see? So that wasn't even a thing that I made up. That's a real thing. Like, there's some crazy restrictions coming out around the world. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we shouldn't talk, that's like an anti-catalyst. So that should be for another show, like the Doomsday show.
Yeah, let's go on with the catalyst. So
yeah.
we had this semi delivery to Pepsi where they delivered, I don't know, several trucks. I think it was 5 or something. Yeah. And you know, from what I got, you know, there was lots of praise around it, especially in the Tesla community, as you know, it was a product that was being promised 5 years ago, or at least first presented, and now it's actually live. But I think something really interesting for me, at least, clicked because during these last 5 years, you could see the semi driving around the US over and over again. There were some photos of it or videos. You know, people, you know, just taking a photo of it, and sometimes you could see that it's the same truck because of certain features. And but what this means is now, and I think Elon talked about this, that they have like really millions of miles being already tested on these various test vehicles that they have. So they're having real world data and not having it, you know, in theory, because once you order something like this, like a full electric truck or a semi, you really want it to work, right? And not have this embarrassment, because there were many people doubting that it would work, and now they have like half a decade to show it actually works, and they're
Yes.
all only improving on it.
And now as they start filling Pepsi's order, the Semi will now come under the spotlight. And yeah, I agree, Julian. It's gonna become more and more apparent as to, right, is it really working, or is that just a fluke?
No, that semi really does work. And I mean, to deliver a fully electric truck that can tow 82,000 pounds on one charge and go 500 miles, 500 miles with the 82,000 pounds, that's not empty. So if it's empty, how far can it go? Has anybody even
Exactly.
asked that question?
Exactly. I mean,
And think about this,
accelerating
like,
on an incline.
right. Well, and you can use it for a chassis for an RV. RVs are not that heavy. They're not 82,000 pounds. I have a 34-foot trailer. It's like 9,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, and you would never have like I mean, you could have a 34-foot RV. That would be a long drivable RV. But it's going to be very interesting what happens with semi. So, Elon just proved the haters wrong again, that he can make sci-fi a reality.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd agree with that comment there as well. That the Semi will have as big of an impact.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
100%.
Yeah, and I think it's very important because even though the sales of a semi truck make up 1% of the U.S. auto fleet that is being purchased as a new car each year, it makes up 20% of the emissions, right? And this is why it's really speaking a lot to Tesla's mission of accelerating the world's transition towards sustainable energy. Because if you're addressing the market share, kind of not really the market share, but the market problems, making up to 20% of the emissions on the vehicles on the road, I think it's a brilliant move to address this first, rather than like a luxury sports roadster 2, which might come out next year as well, but it's not as needed, right?
Yeah.
It's true. And, I think we tend to think about like the semis replacing semis, so we are thinking about that 1%, market share. However, the semi replaces more stuff than the semi. The semi can replace, and I do believe it will replace, rail in the US.
It's quite
that our
possible.
rail system is not efficient and it's a little expensive. And if you can move product for less money, if it's the cheapest thing to do is to use these electric semis, everybody's going to go to electric semi, especially if we can use FSD or even just a platoon for electric semi. That's going to be enormous. So you have that. Also, like I said, the RV industry has been exploding over the last couple of years because people are working differently. We have had this huge renaissance, probably worldwide, but definitely in the United States, with people working online. And so there's been this like RV culture. And, so I have a trailer, love it. But I have noticed it is really hard to get spots in RV parks and stuff. Like, and if you want to go to the like the big national parks, you have to book that a year in advance. I don't think people realize that. If you want to go to Yellowstone and you want to camp in a campground, plan a year in advance.
Now couple that with Starlink and you've got that broadband option wherever you go.
That's all that people needed to go live in an RV. I mean, RVs are super nice these days. I will make a video one of these days and do a tour of mine. It has a fireplace. It's got like massaging recliners that are heated. We have a full-size queen bed in like a separate bedroom. I have stainless steel appliances in my RV. It's very nice.
Yeah, sounds great. Just adding to these Tesla Semi, there's a list of companies who also ordered it, right? So here you go. It says, aside from Pepsi, it seems like they reserved 100 trucks, but also Walmart. Anheuser-Busch, which is like the brewer
Mm-hmm.
responsible for most of the beer in the world. Then you got FedEx, UPS, DHL for deliveries of all the Amazon packages probably. But Amazon is trying to go their own way, but also with EVs, right? They announced that they have some EV vans. At least,
Rivian. They partnered with Rivian, didn't they?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But also in Germany, you can see, obviously not Rivian Amazon trucks, but from other German companies, they're doing the same. It makes sense to do that, and it's just an interesting way to see the potential of the semi, and really changing the
Well,
landscape.
I don't know if you guys
Point.
saw these supposed tax credits for the semi for like commercial vehicles, but one of my friends sent me the tax credits, and the EV tax credits, if you live in California and you combine the state EV tax credits and the federal EV tax credits for like commercial vehicles, they combine are $120,000 off. So it ends up, so they were like, yeah, if you order the semi, blah, blah, like when you could still order, because they've closed down the ordering page. And I'm sure it's because of this, they're going to do like a big change on how much it's going to be, because these EV tax credits are insane. The people that ordered early, I think effectively end up paying $60,000 a truck, which is insanity. I was like, oh, I should have bought one. Darn.
Yeah, we should have bought
FOMO is
one.
real.
We should have.
Like
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
of them, and then selling it to companies.
Oh, I would keep it. I would make an RV. I would, oh my God.
Yeah.
There are companies that will custom build you RVs. And I'm like, I cannot believe that I did not just order this stupid truck. And then I would live my best van life.
Wouldn't you just exactly.
I would.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can hold the motor with your hands, basically.
Yeah.
It's
Like a football or a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful baby.
Insane. But yeah, that actually segues into another point down our list. We want to kind of talk a little bit about the Inflation Reduction Act and an interesting theory that Jennifer has to share with us.
Okay. All right. Let's see if I can get this all out again and it makes sense. So everybody follow me here. Okay. Here's my theory. All right. And this is just as good as my Twitter. If you guys saw, my Elon bought Twitter partially to train the AI. And then it came out that OpenAI was doing that anyways. And I was like, oh, look, I'm so vindicated. I'm telling you, it's like that level of awesome. So, and I do have I'm like so proud of myself. I'm like, please let this be true. We're going to find out shortly, I'm sure. But all right. So going to give credit where credit was due. Again, thank you, Emmett Peppers and Matt Smith. Y'all are very smart and you were very close, and your information helped me get to where I am today. But so China, what is going on with China, right? We are hearing rumors that they're going to cut production of the Model Y by 20%. And Tesla's denying these rumors, but they've denied rumors before, and then they've maybe been partially true or something. And I have a feeling that they might be cutting production of the Model Y by 20% because they may be retooling. So they had this design studio that they announced a while ago in China that they were going to be designing the next model, the questionable model. Nobody knows what it is, but it was supposed to be a model like for China. Well, in China, there's a lot of EV competition. There are EVs you can buy for like $4,000. So, there may be some pricing, compression going on in China. And, we have our EV tax credit, that $7,500 EV tax credit that everybody thinks they're getting, which we're going to discuss. But imagine if you couldn't get it. And our margins in China are the best, right? So our Chinese factory, they can crank out cars for the least amount of cost. So if we need to pull demand levers and pricing levers and this, that, and the other, we could probably print less expensive cars out of China and ship them to the US. But people are like, oh, no, we would never do that. We would never make Chinese car or make cars in China and ship them to the US because they won't qualify for the EV tax credit. Well, let's talk about that EV tax credit, because I don't know if everybody read the EV tax credit, but I was like, okay, we need to do a deep dive and see, is everybody getting this EV tax credit? You have to understand the differences between a refundable tax credit and a non-refundable tax credit. So here is an example. Say you owe $1,000 in federal taxes, because mind you, this is a federal tax credit. So you have to owe federal taxes to reap the benefits, first of all. So say you owe $1,000 in federal taxes and you have a $1,500 tax credit that is refundable. In that case, your money that you owed is wiped out, and then that $500 extra you get a check for, because it is a refundable credit. So you get a refund, a tax refund. Everybody's familiar with tax refunds. With the non-refundable credit, same numbers. You owe $1,000. Your credit is $1,500, but it's a non-refundable credit. Wipes out your $1,000 that you owe. That extra $500. Too bad, so sad, because it's a non-refundable tax credit. The EV tax credit in the Inflation Reduction Act is a non-refundable tax credit. So you have to owe $7,500 in federal taxes, not total taxes, not your state taxes, federal income taxes. Now, also, there's an income cap on who can claim, who can get this EV credit. So it's like, can those people even owe $7,500 in federal tax credits? I mean, who can really take advantage of this? Meanwhile, we're going in this huge recession, and people are like, who's spending $80,000 on a Y? Oh my God, such a great car. But I mean, that's how much it is right now before tax tag title. If you're going to get FSD, I actually think it's $83,000. So it's like, that's a big ask going into a recession. A less expensive car, everybody keeps talking about the Model 3 refresh. A less expensive car would be slamming for demand. And if it's going to be a really deep recession, that is the answer, because we are the only auto company that can do that. We're the only auto company that can make less expensive vehicles, ship them in the US. Nobody has the pricing power that we have. Tesla could charge more this last year and the year before because the economy was slamming, and they took advantage of it, and they should have. Thank God. They're doing the right things for shareholders. But now the right thing for shareholders may be to do a refreshed Model 3 or do the Model Q, Model 2, whatever in China, which nobody's talking about. Like, what's going on at that design studio? People are working there, and the Chinese are pretty industrious. I guarantee you they've got something, and that they can make it for a lot less money in China, and they're just going to ship it to the US. I have a feeling. That's my theory. Yeah, with hardware for. Yes. Oh, I love these little comments in the side that I can see them. Cool. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Did I get everything in there? Did I miss something?
Yeah. First of all, I looked up the income limits. So for single taxpayers, it's making $150,000 a year, or heads of households are making $225,000.
Right.
We're going to have to get a tax person to do, I could do the math, but also I have to do all the holiday things. But yeah, I don't think that person's going to owe that much. I'll tell you, like, people that make high income, they usually deploy tax strategies to lower their income. So like we were talking earlier, like my husband is an enlisted service member, right? And I was a massage therapist. These are not like really high income jobs. But added together they could be okay. But it's not like we're like, CEOs and doctors and stuff, right? But meanwhile, our net income, and like, I am older than my husband and I'm 41, or not our net income, our net worth is 7 figures, even if I lost my entire portfolio, my entire Tesla portfolio. So that's pretty good. It's mostly through using tax advantages, using the tax system to our advantage. As a real estate investor, you can use real estate really well too, because the tax code is written to encourage certain actions. And so the US government really wants people to make jobs, and they want them to provide housing. So landlords and business owners get huge tax advantages. And then people like gripe about it, but that's why, So anyways, So a lot of people who make a lot of money, they will create businesses, they will buy rental property, and they will lower their taxable income.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about having to owe $7,500 in federal taxes after all of your deductions. Who is doing that? And if you owe that, get a better CPA because you're getting screwed. Truly.
Exactly. So feasibility becomes a very curious question.
I feel like it was just a good talking point. You're seeing that a lot out of this, this presidency, is that things will look good and then they'll get canceled. So it's that whole like student loan forgiveness, which thank God did get canceled because we do not have any more money. I mean, listen, I feel bad for people that owe money. I get it. If there was extra money, I'd be down with it. But we owe so much money, and the interest rates that the US is going to have to pay on their debt is going to bankrupt us. So it's like we cannot spend any more money. And I think everybody knows that. And so I have a feeling a lot of the tax benefits and all the things that people are getting excited about are vaporware. That's the vaporware, not FSD.
Yeah. And Elon actually recommended canning the bill, right?
Mhm.
He said,
I think he knows that nothing's really going to qualify.
Yeah, I thought he made this comment in the light of saying the EV demand will be insane regardless of any credit, right?
Exactly,
So
yeah.
the government can save the money for that, and I think that
Right.
it might have been true, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have to
Well,
see.
and if you think about it now, our pricing power is extremely dynamic because with FSD becoming closer to being solved, and then the price has been going up, and I'm sure that it will go up even next year. Even with the recession, I could see that it going up because the performance will be better. Everybody's seeing it perform better. And so I could see it kind of flip where the cars are much less expensive, but if you want FSD, you're going to pay. And so, will we see a $30,000 car and a $25,000 FSD?
Yeah.
Probably. That's, I mean, I would think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think people who need cars and who don't want to worry about oil and don't want to support OPEC and stuff like that, they're going to buy that $30,000 car all day long. And then they're going to save up to add FSD, or maybe they'll do the subscription. I mean, people do not pay attention to subscriptions. How many, like streaming services do you sometimes like even forget that you have, or you mean to cancel it and you forgot, and
It's just
gym memberships. People forget about their damn gym memberships, or don't get it. They're like subscriptions. It's like, it just seems like a little bit of money. So you're like, whatever, it's fine. I'll just let it roll. And those make companies a ton of money.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's also unheard of, I think, in the automotive sector that you have something like subscriptions where you make the car perform better in certain ways. I mean, now more and more luxury brands do this, but I think the vast majority of people driving cars have never even considered that their car might be able to purchase something on a regular basis again and again. But so I think once this gets more news or widespread, people will be very interested. And recently on Twitter, there was a comment on they should give away 1 month for free. Right, so people can actually test it out who are buying Teslas, and because the take rate after that, having your car drive you around for 1 month for free, it will be like nearly 100% of everybody, right?
Repurchase.
Yeah. And that's just another demand or pricing lever that Tesla can pull. So we could go into like a horrid recession. I mean, like, I think Elon was ready for anything from like a nothing burger to a real depression, which is why we have this huge war chest. It's why buybacks haven't been done yet, because they've got to wait. They have to wait. They're going to do it. And listen, this is my take on this. This is very, very temporary. Okay, I'm a huge bull. Tesla's still the greatest company on earth. Elon is amazing. We're so lucky to be here at the same time that he's here. He's making history. However, right now it's all about the macros. It has nothing to do with the company. The stock and the company performance are totally separate right now. They're just not aligned, and you just have to be aware of that. So like for anybody who's on margin, get off margin, okay? Save your cash, and then, you know, buy if that's what you're doing, keep buying the stock because it is a great price. And you really don't know if it's going to go lower. I think it will go lower because the macros look horrific. I'm like, ugh, it's bad. Hey, it could get good. I have whiplash from this year. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Let's just keep
We all
changing
do.
constantly.
We all do. Yeah. And yeah, we can't offer any advice, but there are a lot of conversations that, and
Yeah, it's not
there's a lot of
financial
evidence out
advice.
there
Oh
that,
my God. You know, guys, I'm not a financial advisor.
No, but buy
Don't
the
listen
stock.
to people on the internet, please.
yeah, no,
You know, except for
we're
I
just
feel like
sharing opinions.
get out of margin is a decent, you know, that's smart.
Yeah, actually, that is an investment advice, right? Get off margin, pay back your loans. But it's not
Yeah.
investment into a company or anything else. It's an investment in yourself. I think we can
Yeah.
do that. So
Yeah.
let's move on because we are already 1 hour in.
Oh, yes.
I think we cannot omit this product because it will be insane, which is the Cybertruck, right? So this will come for sure in 2023.
Mhm.
Everything's falling into place. You can see the Giga Press being delivered from Italy, and everything starting with the drone shots inside the factory of Tesla in uh, where is it? Texas. Sorry. So you can see inside there doing excavations. Everything's falling into place, and yeah, I think this will be a huge thing because once this goes live, everybody's going to freak out. There will be viral videos everywhere on the internet, and everybody's grandma will be even talking about it.
So I actually think that's when the stock's going to recover because I think that the macros and the timing of when the Cybertruck is going to be released are going to be, it's about 6 months away. So they're going to be kind of aligned. I think that's why we don't have pricing yet for Cybertruck, because I think it's going to get real nasty, real fast in the US, and then it's going to recover. I think this is going to be a like fast, horrid, a recession that we get out of really fast, hopefully. I don't know. But they can't give us pricing yet. They don't know. They don't know what people will buy. They don't know how hard it's going to be yet. They don't know they don't know how much money they're going to save on the vendor side. So I have been holding out on renovating our house. I mean, we did the stuff you had to do, but I didn't do any of the fun stuff yet because I've been putting all the money in Tesla. And I still have a kitchen and a bathroom to do. And I'm like, oh, a recession's coming. That's when you want to do that stuff. That's when cabinets get cheap. That's when labor gets cheap. And that's when all those car parts are going to get cheap. So, you know, they're not ready to price that yet. And they're probably going to want to make it competitive, you know, in the beginning or something, a little bit just to get some out. I think Cybertruck's going to be amazing. I don't think that's the one that Franz was referring to when he said he's really excited about the one he can't talk about. And everybody thinks it's the, you know, Model 2, Model Q cheapy one. That's not what I think. You know which one I think he's super excited about? It is the Roadster, the refresh, because he tweeted once about it that I saw, and he said, this car flies, literally. And that was it. That's the last thing we heard from him. And we know the rumors that they were planning on making a Model X, or sorry, a Model SpaceX version or whatever that would fly.
That's a very interesting theory. Yeah.
I think the reason we have not seen and not heard anything about the new Roadster and why it hasn't been delivered yet is because it does fly.
Well, that's just almost like another catalyst waiting in the wings, so to speak.
So, I mean, Cybertruck, so I think what's going to happen is Cybertruck's going to come out. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be the greatest vehicle you've ever seen. Elon thinks it's the greatest product they've made. And you know, the economy's going to be recovering. And then maybe by December, because he did say they're going to deliver Cybertruck and Roadster next year, and we are just not hearing anything about Roadster. But I think by December, they're going to be like, surprise, because now we have the power that you need for electric flight.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
kind of told you in the semi delivery without telling you when they told you the battery pack and the
yeah,
charging.
yeah,
You mean power density, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you need like the power density. What was the power density for electric flight? 400
yeah,
megawatts, something. Kilowatt? I don't
yeah,
know. I'm very
yeah.
bad with those units.
Yeah,
But
actually, I can't remember right now, but I'm watching a lot of the limiting factor with Jordan Kisiki, and he's
Mhm.
like an absolute battery expert. I'm also his Patreon. I'm paying him money because his insights are insane. Right? It's unbelievable what he
mm,
knows about all his research. He makes it so transparent and so on. So he has certain videos on exactly that topic, and from what I remember, he said it's probably some years out still until that battery density is reached that it makes sense for a like a highly high volume um,
For
plane.
high volume, but not for like a two-person,
Yeah.
toy vehicle that's going to be very expensive.
So we're gonna
yeah,
come in
exactly. Yeah,
100 watts
yeah.
per kilogram, if I'm not
Thank
mistaken.
you. Yay. Thank you. I knew it was 400 something. It's 400 watts per kilogram. Yes.
That's it.
I feel
Yes.
like we were very close, like even
Well,
last
well,
year.
400, 500, thereabouts. Hey,
Okay, we're not
I mean,
that close.
well, there are, and there are some articles out there. Like I'm just checking one out now for battery breakthrough achieves energy density necessary for electric planes. This is something, but it's a yeah, it's an insert done by an independent, and
Well, and that could be
you,
for, commercial flight. Maybe they're thinking,
I
because
think
maybe
so.
they're thinking that very narrow, like
Yes,
semi replaces semi, electric
yeah,
flight replaces Boeing,
mm,
737s.
mm,
Yeah, sure.
And we're like, well, but what about just two people in a little tiny car? We've got one that's floating around in the universe with a dummy. How do we fly
Starman.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, good old Starman. Yeah, where is he now? Is he around the sun yet?
You can track him. There's a website. It says
Hmm.
I think the URL is something like where's Starman or something, and then you can find where it is. But unfortunately, I think the trajectory is kind of off. It was different than they calculated it for, so it will eventually evaporate in the sun or something. So it will not actually go to Mars, but fly by.
He'll do a flyby.
It's nice. Anyways, okay.
He'll go
So
out in blazing glory.
yeah, exactly. So yeah,
We had to know that the first few we were sending to Mars were going to be risky.
Hey, yeah.
yeah, maybe they will be hit by a Tesla. That would
That'd
be
be the craziest thing. Like, well, what happened to George? Funny story. He went to
Starman
Mars.
showed up. Yeah, his brakes failed and
ah,
he rear-ended. So.
yeah. So
Yeah,
we got an
wow.
interesting
Well,
reminder here. Yes, of course. So Alexandra, who we had on the first episode of our channel,
yeah,
Alexandra Mertz, called Tesla Boomer Mama, she talks about the potential Moody investment upgrade in January, which is relevant because
Mm-hmm.
lots of these traditional investment groups, for example, some state teacher unions or something that have huge investment pots,
yeah,
they are not able or not allowed to invest into Tesla because they don't have a certain rating by these rating agencies.
yeah,
And of course, being able to do this probably next month or in next year, due to the insane numbers that will come out in the quarterly reports and show that
yeah,
it is really a profitable investment, and or the company does well, regardless of
yeah,
what the media says. The numbers don't lie, right? So I think this will be for sure a huge catalyst. But It's not like
Well,
this will happen only once, but over probably many months or years, actually, that more and
possibly.
more of these investment funds will realize that this is something that they or should invest in.
Yeah, and definitely a shout out to Tesla Boomer Mama and for all of her hard work and emails that she's been lobbying against these rating agencies for the past while now.
Yeah, Alexandra's amazing.
Yeah,
She's just fantastic. I got to do an interview with her once, and she's so
awesome.
knowledgeable. Yeah, she's just amazing. So yeah, if you're out there and you don't know who she is, you got to find her and follow her because she has a lot of great information.
Definitely.
I feel like that the upgrade may come like a little later because I feel like we're going to miss on Q4. Just everybody be prepared. Q4 may be a little miss. We're going to have a little dip. But what's nice about that is the PE is going to further compress. As the PE compresses, we are going to look better to institutional investors. I think institutional investors are waiting for a more compressed PE because of the way that they look at stocks and valuing stocks. And they look at like the forward value of cash, the future value of cash. And because of the interest rates being higher, they are demanding lower PE ratios. But what that will mean for us in the future, like if you are a long-term shareholder and you can hold on to your shares, in the future, we'll have a higher percentage of institutional shareholders then if we do get a compressed PE and we do get more institutions buying in. So our floor will become higher later. So it would be really great. It's like building a really solid foundation because we'll be replacing some retail shareholders that would buy and sell, and it makes it more volatile with institutional shareholders, which usually like set it and forget it. They buy it and it's locked away. So that is going to make it a safer investment. And it will also be more likely with more institutional investors that you do get those higher ratings. And then, like Julian was talking about, the investors that are institutional that have those certain governances where you have to meet certain marks, that then they can invest. It's this whole waterfall cascade of like, we're going to get all this investment, but unfortunately, we're going to have to walk through the fire first.
Yeah, yeah, and and on that note, there's so much more to talk about.
Yeah.
I think we're just sort of scraping the surface of various catalysts and interesting discussion points. I'd say stay tuned. We're going to be talking about this a lot more into the near future, and going on a merry education. Just getting our heads around what's pretty much around the corner.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, you guys had a lot of fantastic, like, the list that y'all have is long. So we've got a lot of surprises for everybody, a lot of things that maybe, it's a lot to keep up with if you have kids and a job and a life and everything. It's hard to keep up with everything. So I'm glad our three heads are together thinking about things because, like, if someone missed it, the other one got it. And yeah, it's going to be a lot. So,
Exactly.
but it was so great to see you guys again. I'm glad we were able to do this.
Yeah, likewise. Just like you were saying, Jennifer. Yeah, these are busy days, and we are reaching out to other guys and girls in similar situations. Really, everybody's busy. Everybody's trying to make ends meet, trying to look after the kids. Trying to get all of the stuff done. We're hugely envious of course of the more serious YouTubers out there. Definitely recommend going to check them out. But yeah, we'll keep doing everything that we can do to just help, just encourage the conversation.
Yeah, and thank you very much to What Matters Most Truth. Who commented
Awesome
on
comments,
our
guys.
video, as well as what's the other guy? John Loves
John.
Spain, right?
John loves Spain.
Yeah.
I think we're a mutual follow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, guys.
Yeah. So Thank you very much, and we'd like to encourage anybody who's watching this and who's interested in talking about anything that you're interested in relation to Tesla or the Musk universe, to come on our YouTube channel, because this is the Tesla community channel. It is made for everybody. It's not like a show about Claude and me. It's about the people who
about
are
everybody.
striving towards accelerating the world's transition to renewable energy. So thank you very much, Jennifer, for helping us and putting your brilliant ideas and your theory out there, which we'll see. So once it gets through, you need to come back and then we need to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, if I'm right for the second time, I'm gonna have to change my Twitter handle. So I
Might
have
have
to
to.
check the Oracle or something. I don't know, because I don't know where these things come from sometimes. But I was like, oh, whoa! I think they're just going to
Snap.
make a cheaper car. It's coming. We all know it's coming, but how is it coming? And I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you
you
very much.
guys.
All right.
We'll see you on the
Bye,
next one.
guys.
Ciao.